Okay, we'll come out of the budget hearing, and now I would like to call to order the regularly scheduled board meeting of the Parish Union School District Number 95 Board of Education for Monday, April the 7th. Let the record show that all members are present except for Member Bailey. The voting sequence for this meeting is as follows: Calvert, Idle, Isaac, Sanchez, Tuttle, and Davis. Audience to visitors.
Is that where I'm supposed to be, Tom?
You want to do that first, Connie?
Yes. First, we do have a presentation, and we have a person here tonight that's being honored on our school board. And Brenda, do you want to come up and say a few words?
Rather than have my back to everybody, I think I'd like to go around and stand here. That's okay. Make it easier for Mr. Sperry to take care of himself. Excuse me. Every year the Chamber honors a man and a woman that have gone above and beyond volunteerism in Paris. And this year we were honored to nominate Tom Tuttle. But of course he was with the youth, but it was also his grandson. So we were unable to give it to him at the night of our March 21st banquet, which you missed a great time, Tom. Everybody had a good time. Tom has been involved with youth and youth sports for over 20 years, more likely about 23. He has given numerous, countless hours of his time to the youth of Paris, and he is a lifelong resident of Paris. He is on the District 95 school board, and he is an outstanding person and citizen of Paris. He has dedicated himself to the youth. Some of his involvement in the civic and charitable organizations. He's a District 95 school board member, currently the Vice President, PCHS school board member, current Vice President, Mayo 7th grade boys coach, 2012 to current, Paris Little League baseball coach, 1994 to 2010, treasurer for the Paris Little League baseball 2002-2010, Paris Junior League basketball coach, member of the Paris Park Board 2007 to current, YMCA board member 2004-2005, Paris President Youth Football 2007 to current, former youth football coach 1996, Paris YMCA basketball coach 1991, president of the Paris Booster Club 1975 to 1976. You can see that Tom has definitely dedicated his life to the youth. Tom worked for Cargill Dry Corn Ingredients from 1993 to 2010, and during that time, some of his accomplishments were successfully represented Cargill at all 4 steps of the labor grievance process and all labor arbitrations. He wrote numerous plant rules and policies, created a computerized inventory management, production reporting system, designed numerous department safety improvements, purchased and installed state-of-the-art packer, palletizer, which doubled the annual output of the paper bags shipped. Tom was in the retail automotive business from 1975 to 1993. Tom was the owner of Tom Tuttle Ford Lincoln Mercury in Paris and owner of Tom Tuttle Auto Sales. He's also been a sales manager at All Chevrolet Cadillac, and he, in his younger days, worked at Burger Chef and Marty's. I've known Tom. My voice, I'm sorry, people. The night of the banquet, I had no voice, Tom. So this is better than what I had then. I have known Tom for many years, and I was a personal friend of his mother, Martha Tuttle. When Martha was alive, Tom was coaching. You would find Martha sitting on the front bench. Excuse me. She was a good friend. Sorry. I know She is looking down right now, watching with that $1 million smile and praising her son on a job well done. It's my honor and privilege to present the 2014 Parisian Award.
Carol, you and Tim
Oh,
can
no.
take a picture
No.
of Carol.
I didn't get picked up for this.
Just have a
Your
picture.
scrapbook.
You can put it on your, come on, Tim. You look great. Now I know why you've been married so long. Tommy's never home. March, doesn't it? Oh, sorry. He's involved in everything. Let me take my coat off.
No. Hold back up, Tom.
You covered me up.
1, 2, 3, got it. 1, 2, thanks.
Thank you. And I wanted to point out too that Kim Calvert is the one who even nominated Tom. So Kim, I just want to give you a little credit too that you nominated Tom because she knew of all the things he had done for the youth and it's really, really nice. Thanks, Brenda.
Thank you.
Tom, congratulations. Consent agenda, and in the package you have minutes from the March 3rd meeting, a list of bills, and the February's treasurer's report. Does anyone have any questions on the consent agenda this evening? If not, Calvert?
Yes.
Gives me a motion to approve.
So moved.
So, now, Calvert.
Yes.
Idle.
Yes.
Isaac.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
Davis is yes. Secretary's report. Okay. Superintendent's agenda.
Okay, we did hold the budget hearing from 4:45 to 5 p.m. There were no questions asked during the hearing. The budget has been available for public inspection for the past 30 days. And as I explained in the March meeting, we've amended our budget to more accurately reflect the revenues we received from our tax dollars, and we moved some money from O&M and transportation into the ed fund. We did not make any additional changes since it was presented to you last month. So at this time, I would ask the board to approve the amended budget for the 13-14 school year.
So,
Second.
Any questions? If not, Calvert.
Yes.
Idle.
Yes.
Isaac.
Yes.
Sanchez.
yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
Davis is yes.
Okay, this evening Carol and Jones and Jeremy are here to present you with some information on some community workshops that they have planned. I think you're going to hand out a flyer to them.
Thank you.
Basically, Carol and I, we look for different ways to get the community involved within the school. And I just think it's important to offer workshops. It started off last year on Saturdays. I'd come in about at least once or twice a month and offer workshops in technology, whether it was a Microsoft Excel, web design, video editing course for the public, and offer them to come in. And Carol and I were working on this together, and we split it in half, and we found people with different interests come in, and then all throughout Saturdays on May, they're going to come into the schools and do presentations for the community. And this is open up to anyone of any ages. And we try to pick just different topics that you don't normally think about, such as we have Intro to Aviation. I'm actually friends with two pilots from Terre Haute who are going to be coming over and teaching a course. We have Sewing for Beginners, eBay 101. I actually have a teacher at my school who does a pretty successful eBay business, and she thought she would spend an afternoon teaching people kind of what she does. We have sign language, we have empowerment parenting, scrapbooking, so we have all different types of courses, and it's just really something to bring the community into our school and really highlight that we're here to serve a purpose, outside what sometimes you think is our regular role. Also, I just want to make a note that this Thursday, all of the principals and I have really organized the State of the District presentation, and we're really excited to have everyone come in, have a meal, get some feedback, and just really open it up to the community so that we can just invite them into our schools and really let them know that we're there not only to make bad phone calls, but have positive contact with them as well. And so that's what this is about. So I just want to thank you for your time.
And Carol, did you have?
Yeah, I just wanted to give you a brief update on the state testing. And as you recall, is our new state test that will be given next year instead of ISAT. It replaces the ISAT. In the past couple of weeks, we were able to pilot test that. Now, we didn't pilot test at all the grade levels, but it was at 3rd, 4th, and 7th, and 8th that we'll be doing the pilot testing. So this is the first in the state of Illinois that the students took the state test, the pilot test, on the computer. It was all strictly on the computer. So there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that goes into that. And when the student comes in a computer lab and they have a username and password, and they just log on and boom, the test comes up, and they think, oh, how easy. But let me tell you, behind the scenes, I want to thank Jeremy for doing the technology, getting the classes set up. I was there helping him, but if it wouldn't have been for him, I couldn't have operated that technology involved in getting that uploaded and sent into our testing company, Pearson. Also, thank you to Amy for getting the testing schedules arranged. So just letting you know, even though the computer saves some time because you don't have to organize test booklets and labels and all that kind of thing, there's still a lot of work behind the scenes that does go into that. So we were just thankful, really, that we had the opportunity to see what's all involved in that process and get us a little bit of experience in that, so we're ready for the real thing in the spring of next year. So I also want to thank the teachers because they took the time out of their schedule and got the kids trained on the technology tools that are involved in the testing. So let me just mention those teachers that participated. 3rd grade, it was Megan Carroll and Neil Ford, that's 3rd grade. 4th grade, Stephanie Schmidt and Marie Winsett. And then at Mayo, 7th grade, it was Allison Worth and Michelle Huffington. And then in 8th grade, it will be Stephanie Jones. So those teachers took time out to get the kids used to the technology tools. And I'll have to say, because I went in and observed some of the testing as it was going on, the kids were able to operate the technology well. We were a little concerned on that, thinking, oh my goodness, will they know how to drag and drop? Will they know how to highlight? Will they know how to X off answers? All these kinds of, and they can flag answers, tools that are available on the computer that were never available for them with paper and pencil. So we were very pleased on that. One thing we did learn, of course, which no surprise really, that we need to continue to make changes in our curriculum to be better aligned with Common Core. We still have a lot of work to be done. We've done a lot of work, but there's still more to do. And so it will be a long process to get that job, whether it's ever completely aligned, probably not. There's always changes we're needing to be making and improvements we need to be doing for our curriculum. But I just wanted to report we were very glad we had that opportunity to participate, and it gave us a lot of good experience.
Now, Carol, you won't get results, correct, because it is just a pilot, but what it did give us, the opportunity to kind of see what types of things are on the test and to get the students to see how well they could maneuver and operate on a computerized test. So. Any questions? Okay.
Thanks, Carol.
Thanks. Next on the agenda, we have several resignations. The first one, and since some of the support staff are still on District 95, I will ask the board to accept the resignation for Becky Ogle, who is the nurse at Paris High School. She submitted a resignation, said she's going to go back to school. So I'd ask the board to accept this resignation. Second.
Any discussion? If not, Calvert?
Yes.
Ida?
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
Okay, next, we received a resignation from Paula Williams. She's a custodian at Mayo Middle School. She indicated that effective June 1st of 2014, she will be resigning. I'd asked the board, and Sam, how many years has Paula been with us, do you know? Didn't put that on there, but I can find out. I'd asked the board to accept Paula's resignation. Or retirement.
Second. 14, I think.
14?
Any discussion? If not, Calvert,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
Okay. Under employments, got a recommendation from Mr. Larson to employ Katie Camp to fill the special ed position that will be left vacant by the retirement of Heather Hardy. He has her background information we included in your packet, and she is planning to move back from Montana to the Paris area. She is a former Paris resident and relocated due to her husband's employment, I believe. So at this time, I would recommend the board approve the employment of Katie Camp to serve as special ed teacher at Mayo Middle School for the 14-15 school year.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Calvert,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez, Tuttle,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
Okay, a few months back, the district or the board approved us to employ a psychologist intern. This is a student still completing some of her degree, and she will intern under our current psychologist, Elisa Grigg. At this time, they have recommended to me, or Elisa did, Brittany Cargus to serve as an intern for the next school year. I would ask the board to approve this position.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Calvert,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez, Tuttle,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
Okay. We have several summer programs that we receive a grant from Flossie Stafford funding at the bank. And we do provide summer speech, summer social work, and a summer art program. So at this time, I would recommend the employment of Cheryl Redmond to fill the summer art, Cindy Barbie for summer speech, and Joellen Henson to do the summer social work.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Calvert,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez, Tuttle,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
You have a list of assistant coaches that Mr. Larson is recommending. His coaching positions you have, as well as you have a list of Andy Goodwin and Craig Emberton to serve as volunteer assistant coaches for the 14 track season. I think I'll just ask for a vote combined on those, his list of coaches and those two other positions.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Calvert,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez, Tuttle,
Abstain.
Davis is yes.
Okay. Next, for Mayo Art, Mr. Larson has asked that I bring before the board to employ Christy Bosk again to serve as an interim art teacher at Mayo Middle School. Much of Christy's salary came from Partners in Ed before, and we still get donations from the foundation to cover that, so we are able to provide a program at a very limited cost for the Mayo students. I would ask the board to approve the employment of Christy Bosk for the 14-15 school year.
So moved.
Any discussion? If not, Calvert,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez, Tuttle,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
Unless you have a problem with me combining the next two votes, I think I will. Mr. Roberts is here as well as Mr. Larson. We formed an ad hoc committee for athletics to talk about Mr. Roberts' first year as the athletic director for us at Mayo School, and he has brought to Mr. Larson and I a couple of recommendations that the committee is backing. We had Mr. Idle and Mr. Tuttle, so they may want to add something when I read about this recommendation. They are asking to build a softball field behind my office, and this will be done entirely with donations. So Mr. Roberts devised the plan, developed the plan, drew it out, brought it to the committee, and just exactly, and I'll be asking you to accept donations on further down into the agenda. But this will allow us to have our own field for the Mayo girls. It is sometimes hard to schedule when we're trying to schedule with other schools in the field we're currently using. So, like I said, it would be at no cost to the district. This would all be done with donations. He'd also like to establish a cross-country program at Mayo Middle School for next school year. The committee was in favor of both of those. We feel like it's an excellent opportunity for more students to be involved in different ways at the school. And Nick, you indicated no uniforms would need to be
No,
purchased.
there'd be no cost other than transportation.
Okay, so there would be some transportation
A little
cost
bit,
to
yeah.
go to the events and be limited, but,
No coaching salary, it'd be limited for us.
okay. So, it's right behind the building here. They had a field here when we purchased the property. The children's home had just kind of a semi-small, it wasn't a, a full-fledged field. And I always thought it was kind of a shame that we didn't, because we've got some property back there that we're not actually using all of it. We mow it and Sam maintains it. So, when Nick brought us this idea, first, one of the student leagues, the
Yeah, travel.
Predators
Right.
League or something had come to us, and I mentioned to the board, they were gonna do some improvements and drag the field and do some things so they could come back here and practice. So we allowed them to do that for a while, and we will still let them use the
Right.
field. So, when Nick, he started thinking about it and thought, gee, that would be a nice opportunity for us to have our own field, and you can never, like I think Mr. Coe pointed out, it doesn't matter, and Mr. Idle, whatever you come up with, we're gonna have more and more people wanting to use it. I understand that. They use our gym back here for cheerleading practice, for Crestwood, for Mayo, for, and for batting practice, so we have no doubt, but it would be Mayo's, would be the first priority for the use of the field. But Nick, is there anything else you wanna add, or the committee even?
And we'll open it up to other people, but like you said, it'll be District 95 owned, maintained, we'll schedule it. I mean, we're not open for other people using it, but as long as they don't abuse it, we're not gonna make it a park or anything like that. So we just try to upgrade our facilities, trying to give ourselves a home, I guess. Right now, we're at the Legion, and we share with Crestwood, and I think the high school uses it too, and it's getting kind of decrepit, to be honest with you.
Will this be scheduled through mail,
It'll be scheduled through
through the?
whoever the athletic director is, which is me right now. It'll be scheduled through us.
Okay, not through the
Through Mr. Larson and through
No, it's
Connie.
always scheduled through the.
It'll always go through our athletic department or through our school or through Connie to schedule it, so it just won't be open for anybody's use. So if somebody.
Yeah, we've
We've-
looked at the
we've
parking
asked for it.
situation, and Sam, you've addressed that. We've got parking all up front, and we feel like that all students will be gone from back here before they ever have a game or a
Right.
practice. So we have, I don't know, you even said for most of the softball games.
Yeah, I mean,
there's
you don't
an
get
average.
tremendous crowds. I don't think we had over maybe 30 cars I ever saw at a junior high softball game. A Mayo Crestwood game might be bigger than that, but they can park the Crestwood wall.
Or maybe we can have it out collision or something at that point.
And I believe it's a nice way to.
It ain't that far.
Thanks, Brad.
I believe it's a nice way just to bring some community pride back into our schools and let our parents feel a sense of ownership in a program we have within the school. So I'm looking forward to really getting my parents more involved and letting them feel that ownership. We have a resource already available. It almost seems like a waste not to use that resource and just give it a little bit of update.
It'll be a regulation.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
we've looked into just kind of, we're gonna put a fence around it, build dugouts. We've already actually had it surveyed. It'll be all regulation, everything will be good to go. I mean, we've got about $22,000 in donations right now. I mean, we have enough to do. I mean, we could do improvements as the years go, but it'll be playable for us in the fall.
And of course, with Sam
Sam
taking care of the maintenance,
Right.
I think we'll
I mean, it'll
have no
take-
problem.
We got a lot of volunteers from like Foyt's volunteer stuff and all through, and with 95, I mean, it'll be done right. It won't be haphazard. And everything will run through the maintenance department or run through Connie before we do it.
Do you have any questions about the cross-country program?
I didn't know half whatever you were saying. Haphazard or something.
He pulled that oriented.
Never anticipated.
It is a lot lingo, so.
I didn't know that's the word you were gonna use.
Don't quote me on that, yeah.
You didn't say it.
You didn't say it, you didn't.
We were betting against you.
I think they're really, it sounds, I mean, Nick's really getting involved and stepping up and wanting to make some improvements and add to our programs. So, you know, I think I sent out the drawings, or he had some drawings of how he would like for it to be done. And like I said, he's had a lot of people, like for
Right.
voices, and I'll say they even volunteer their time and their work and their labor. So at this time, I'd ask that the board approve beginning and starting on the softball field, as well as establishing a cross-country program for Mayo for the 14-15 school year.
So we,
Second.
Any discussion, any further discussion? If not, Calvert,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
yes.
Davis is yes.
Okay, next we have some donations to accept then, to go ahead and start working on the
Could
field.
I jump in ahead of you
Sure.
there, while we're on the subject of the softball field? I think it would be very appropriate and very proper, in view of how this came to be, that we give it a name. And I would move that we name it Roberts Field.
Not for me, you know, I appreciate that.
I didn't say any
For the
first name.
Roberts.
Right, for my family. My dad was involved in youth sports like Tom was for a long time, so that's something you wanna do, that make me happy.
And Lindsay too.
Yeah, and Sam's daughter too, so was a cheerleader at Mayo. Yeah, that'd make us
And
happy.
Nancy's also donating.
Right, all our donations are on there.
I
We
think
kind
the
of-
Roberts
I
family is
got
pretty
it.
much creating this field. Is that something you want to vote on, or do you want to just, I don't think we really have to take a vote, but then I can get feedback from all of you.
I think
I
it's
think that's a nice
very
idea.
nice.
So, did we take a vote yet on that?
Yes,
We
we
did.
did.
Okay, we just haven't voted on the donations.
Right.
And you still, this may not be an all-inclusive list. May-
No, it's not, we have them all, that's not even close.
Okay, I knew it wasn't all of them, but you may
We got
have
them all
more
now,
now.
we just don't have them all on
But
there.
right now, for this meeting, for the
Yeah,
work
and I'll
purposes.
send any other ones to you, so. you can
Okay,
see that.
we've received donations from 1,000 from Elston State Farm Insurance, 1,000 from Donkey Basketball, 1,000 from Templeton Funeral Home, 500 from First Bank, 500 from Ball Transportation, 500 from Ingram Waste, 500 from Mayo Booster Club, 500 from Bob Morgan, and 3,500 from Edgar County Bank. I would ask that the board accept these donations.
So moved.
Second.
Calvert,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
Okay, and we also were donated an adaptive swing to be used for special needs students, and this came through our Eastern Illinois Area Special Ed Cooperative, but I think it was actually, I don't think his name,
Is it Joe Johnson?
Joe Johnson, who had given that. He's a local resident here, and so Sam, I think they talked about you about maybe you've already installed the swing, but they were gonna be sending the swing and said that,
We were glad to.
that they would have you put it up. So I would ask that the board accept the donation of an adaptive swing for special needs students.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Calvert,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
We received just a small grant, but anything is, we welcome. We were advised on the 25th of March that we'd been approved to receive a safety grant in the amount of $378. This was given to us by our work comp company for the procedures and policies and things that we have in place to ensure the safety of our staff. So I would ask the board to accept this donation.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Calvert,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
Jeremy, you wrote another safety grant.
Yes.
And have we gotten any official notice? We were looking at putting that film, coming to the board, the film on the glass that Tom had seen at the board
Miss-
conference.
Mr. Roberts helped me write this grant along with Carol Jones, where Mr. Roberts went through and met with contractors to get all the price quotes. Mr. Tuttle had said that looking at the 3M film on the glass would help prevent if someone was trying to intrude within the building. there was actually a grant that came forward through IEMA. So we worked together to write that grant. I have not heard back from them yet. The deadline for the grant was March 17th. We turned that grant in at least 2 or 3 weeks early before that. And so we're waiting to hear back from them. Usually there's a time period you have to hear, but we have submitted that with the price quotes, and I'm very hopeful that we will receive that. So.
And that would be really nice, because it would, I don't know, Sam, what you were thinking the delay would even be. We've actually even gone back and looked at safety glass in the new high school too, that they'll be approving some change orders tonight. It'll be already in the glass, whereas we will be adding this film, but school districts have had the film for how many years even? It's
For years and
years. So this is still a great way to help us try to keep our students safe by adding one more.
And that was for all buildings within
Yes.
District 95.
Yes, that would be for all buildings, and then of course, eventually the high school will have the safety glass as well. So I wanted to update you on that. Mr. Meister is here with Mr. Cox this evening, and I'm not asking you to say anything, and I thought there might have been someone here from Pathways, but I'll just mention a little bit. We have been discussing, and Mrs. Bailey and myself and Mr. Meister talking about the Pathways program that we have co-opted in for many years for students who are at risk of dropping out of high school. These are basically students who are not going to have the credits in time to graduate, and maybe would like for them to get their diploma, but at the very least a GED. This program, most of the districts, once we met with the gentleman at Pathways, out of their 30-some districts or 20, there's probably just a handful of districts still in the program. And it's not because of the program, it's because the districts are realizing that there are more and more students who do not fit the typical traditional 8 to 3:30 mold and need some alternatives. And it could be because of working situations and they're taking care of their family, and it could be that they do a half-day program, still trying to get their credits to graduate. We are analyzing, and Dave's doing, and Mark, most of this, they started their APEX program at the high school and have had a really good success with that program. So at this point, we are looking at not continuing with the Pathways program, but implementing a program for our own students. And Dave, you'll have more, you and Mark, on that, probably at the co-op meetings, I would assume, later to explain exactly how you're going to. I mean, if you want to say a few words or.
Well, we've run the APEX program now for 5 years, and we changed it up 3 years ago. We had teachers on the prep period, we paid during the prep period for a couple of years to go in and do the APEX program. And we have since found that a consistent person in the room with the students is more effective. And we've used a longtime student aide, Paula Gordon, in the program. She's done a fabulous job. She works well with them. And if we have problems within, let's say, a student needs help with an English paper and the expertise isn't there, we can call in a English teacher during the prep period who can work with the students. So the students there have access to all of our staff, guidance counselors, and it is separated. We begin the day at 11:30, it ends at 5:30. And we have full-time students in that program that are APEX only. We have part-time students that are drop in after school to pick up credit.
We have some that come in the middle of the day as well, like if, they're out of PE. We've had a kid pick up a class because of medical, they're out of PE, so instead of losing a credit, we put them in the APEX to gain the credit a different way.
We've had quite a bit of success in the last 3 years. I didn't realize that until we got to looking that, over the 3-year span, we've had 13 kids earn a diploma, and those are kids we would have lost. And we're pretty proud of that. Plus, we've got kids that have graduated early. They've come in, they've taken up to 4 credits in the APEX program and have graduated early and have gone on to pursue their college career or their vocational career. So it's been successful, and I'd like to think that we can capture most of those kids that go to Pathways and give them what they need. We have reduced the number of referrals to Pathways in the last 2 years. Last year we referred 8. This year we referred 10 Prior to that, we were 18 and 16 the 2 prior years. So we've reduced the number of kids that we're sending to Pathways because we have the capability within our own building. We do have the ability to expand the program to as many as 20 kids next year without any extra cost to the districts, simply because we will have an aid that becomes available because their student has graduated, and we will be able to put that aid into that program if it should be necessary, which I assume it will be. If the kids are not going to Pathways, they'll come back to us. So I think it's been a great success, plus it will be a way to save a little bit of money for the 2 districts. And I would also like to echo what Connie said. You know, Pathways has served the 2 districts and other districts in Paris for over 24 years. And the teacher and the program have been very valuable to those kids. There have been quite a few kids that have earned a GED through that program, and it is in no way a reflection on the people that have run that program. It's unfortunate that times have changed. The amount of money that is available to schools has shrunk and continues to shrink. And when we begin looking at programs and how we can best serve our kids, it's maintaining the programs within our schools for the kids that are there that is most important. And I feel that by doing it this way, we're not taking away from kids in any way. We're continuing a similar program within our walls at a cost savings to the districts.
Well, we originally were in this program for many, many years. Chrisman, Marshall, maybe even Kansas, Crestwood, 95, all co-op together. And this was happening all over the state because we had a handful of students that we may have felt the benefit. All of those districts have pulled out and have either done their own and made other options, which increases the cost for the 2 left, which is Crestwood and 95. That's not the only reason we analyze this. It also tells us there is a need, and the other districts are realizing, like we brought our severe and profound students back where the co-op special ed co-op used to provide for them. We brought our, many of our programs back in-house because they are our students, and if other people can develop programs that work, so can we. When you have 2 students, it's not cost effective to have a program like that, but we have plenty to fill. We would have 20, I'm sure, that would, kids who need an option. Some of them may end up still just getting the GED, but that's still also available to them at a free, through the state for no charge. So if there are students that would not even want to finish our program, they still do have that option for a GED program. So just giving you information, we're not asking for a vote on anything, because basically I just would not recommend bringing back a contract for the Pathways program, and we would go with the Apex program, but I do want you to feel comfortable that our students' needs will be met. So if you have other questions, please, I'd ask you to call Dave, call Mark as well. And maybe attend a co-op meeting when maybe you give them more, even a presentation on the Apex program and how it's worked for you.
We can give them continual updates on
right. You have, but not all of my board members go to it. But I try to send out the memos and all. But it's been a successful program for you. So. Okay. The other thing I wanted to bring up, there are many items that are going to be on Dave's agenda this evening, as far as changes may be made at the high school, different things. You're approving lots of bills and things to be paid for the high school projects. So I tried to list a lot of them for you and keep you up to date, but if you'd like to, there's the meetings at 6:30, and all board members are welcome to attend that as well. Scott Bennett will be there from Turner, and he will be, and probably, who's the other gentleman?
Justin?
No, it's coming with Scott Turner.
Gary
Hill will be there as well. But we keep meeting, the administration, we meet every other week with them, and then our construction committee met not long ago. Tom, you have anything you want to add to Beatles on that committee as well? He's not here this evening. Is there anything?
Nothing to add.
Nothing to add, but they'll probably be covering that tonight. We're going to be asking to accept some bids like the landscaping bids and different things that way this evening that were discussed by the committee. And Mr. Idle was at that meeting as well. Any board member is welcome to come. John, you were there to listen to the discussions about why we might choose this or that, or this graphic, or bleachers, or just the list goes on and on and on. So anybody's welcome, and I will get to you any of the meeting dates that we have. I wanted to tell you that there will be a District 95 APT retirement celebration on May 16th. It's sponsored by the Board of Education, actually, and the APT. We've gone together for the past several years. So there's a list in your packet of the people there, and I do have one of your fellow board members, Doug Hassler, on there as well, that they will be honoring him. So feel free to come to the VFW on the 16th from 4 to 6, and a lot of retired teachers come. Chuck, you usually show up sometimes for that. And
They asked me not to.
oh, okay. Dang it, will you still come? So, whatever, that's not stopping you. Yeah, so that's the only other item I had for the board, and that's the end of the superintendent's agenda.
Okay. Do we have any committee reports this evening?
Oh, can I add one more thing?
Yes.
You did have some other things handed out that I didn't get into your packet, but on school funding formula. And I've been mentioning this a little bit, and when I get articles, I try to get them out to you. There is more than just discussion now at the state level of looking at ways to redistribute the state aid that is received by districts, and if they are looking at poverty. Now, many people can say this may not happen, this won't happen. I have a really good feeling that the state is in such a shape that if they want all the downstate districts to go broke and they take over or whatever has to happen, there will be some type of redistributing of the funding. This does not mean raising property taxes. They're not going to go there. This doesn't mean, there's a lot of things they try and they know they'll never get reelected and they just fall by the wayside. This is a way of actually looking at districts and what their property taxes are, how much money they're spending per pupil, and how they could look at districts with high poverty and redistributing some of those funds to them. We would be a winner in that situation. It's the good and the bad of it, but we would. I've had calls from the Chicago Tribune. I've had calls from all over the state of Illinois, just different college campuses asking to interview me because our name is on that list of districts that would greatly benefit. Like I said, the good and the bad of that is we do have, our high poverty, which is in your funding formula recently. But if they redistribute, we would gain more funds. So that's something I want you to keep a close eye on. It's Andy Manor, is a Democrat out of Bunker Hill, who's introducing this overhaul. It may not get done in 1 year, but I think this is probably something to really watch and to keep an eye on, because like I said, there are so many districts that downstate that are truly struggling, that what will they do if they can't keep their doors open because they, prices keep going up and their property taxes get capped and they can't get any more money that way, and state aid's being prorated and they're sending us 80-some% this year. So I'm very hopeful that they could look at something like this to make it more equitable for all the students in the state of Illinois versus just where there are extremely high property taxes and they're spending $10,000 to $20,000 a pupil.
Was it Chapin Rose that had an article about that in the paper recently?
Most of the legislators have had some articles on this. And like I said, anytime you talk about redistributing, you're going to get some pushback from different areas that are going to lose. But short of knowing the state's broke, and they're not generating a lot of new revenue, they're trying to look at ways, I think, of maybe we could at least redistribute some of what we have. So it's something to keep looking into, and I'll keep you abreast of that, and I'll make calls as well and see where it goes. So that's the end of my turn.
Okay. Any reported committees, public hearings and petitions, unfinished business, matters for follow-up, new business, right to revert to priority of business. I think you mentioned it wasn't necessary to vote on the name of the new field. I think it'd be nice if it was on the agenda next month and let us vote.
Yeah, that's fine. Because since we hadn't brought it up, I didn't want to put anybody on the spot. I don't think it would be an issue, but I thought, it's not, I can't take a vote when it's not on the agenda to take a vote. So we will have it on there.
Okay. No executive session this evening. Do you have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Calvert, Idle, Tyson, Sanchez, Tuttle,
Yeah.
Davis is yes, meeting is